Reiko, we've been waiting for 20 minutes.
I wouldn't say that.
She's just so cute under that box.
EA could actually launch a game that doesn't suck.
You know what this game needs?
Holy
Ponies.
Just like everybody.
Anybody else notice that the protagonist looks a lot like Egoraptor?
This week is going to be as awesome as Duke Nukem Forever. Alright, hey, Bluescreen Bronies viewers, hello, yes, hello, this is a special episode because Kyle, Hebert, right? Hebert?
Not even close.
Hebert.
Hebert.
No, not even Hebert. It's H is silent, E is like an A.
Hebert.
Yes.
So you're like Stephen Colbert.
There you go.
Okay. Hebert.
Just think. A bear is coming this way. It's going to attack me. Oh no, it's a bear.
A bear. That's
Yes.
actually the weirdest way I've heard a name described.
Well, if it helps you remember it.
Yeah, I'm not going to forget that now. A bear.
Oh.
Okay, Kyle, so you've done a lot of work here. You've done Kohan when he was a teenager and an adult. You've done Ryu for the animation, is that correct?
Ryu for the games from Street Fighter 4 onward. Yeah.
Street Fighter 4 onward. And then also for Wreck-It Ralph.
Mm-hmm.
You've done Kamina. You've done Vato from Full Metal Alchemist. Graves. Jarvan. It was a very hard character to find a vector of. Ezreal. And Webmaster from Tome. Yes. You've done a lot. I mean, there's a giant list on your website of stuff I could go through all night.
Yes, there's a lot. What just came out this week was Earth Defense Force 2025 and Inazuma 11 and Bravely Default.
Oh, Bravely Default is amazing. What character do you play in Bravely?
I play Black Mage Ominous Crow.
Ooh, haven't got there yet. That game's so good, though. It's so good.
I like the game.
It's very amazing. So, Kyle, I gotta ask, Wreck-It Ralph was a very giant video game homage. It had the whole Earth dies and all your base belong to us. It's just a giant video game meme and video game centric movie. What did it feel like to voice act in it, even if it was for a little bit?
Well, it's just a childhood dream come true. You know, I've wanted to be a voice actor for animation since I was a kid, and I wanted to obviously to get included in a Disney movie at some point was definitely, you know, on the bucket list. So I was able to knock that down just by an interesting loophole. Just getting cast in an iconic role of Ryu in Street Fighter in and of itself was already pretty awesome. But because I was that role, Disney wanted to reach out to me and Roger Craig Smith and some other voice actors because they wanted to actually cast the actual voices for these cameos. And I mean, that's a win for all, man. I got to be in not just any movie, but a Disney movie, and not just any Disney movie, a really awesome Disney movie. It's like Toy Story for gamers. And even if, you know, my little 10-second cameo weren't a part of it, I'd still love that movie. I saw it like 4 times in the theater and all that. But yeah, getting included to be a part of that is really, really special. It's a personal achievement for me. It just feels really, really good.
That's a major achievement, to be honest with you. if it counts anything. I mean,
because you know, animated movies from major studios, you know, they got this thing about casting celebrities for everything because they think that's what makes crowds come to see movies, and that may be true for on camera, but I think with animation stuff, you're opening up to families and, you know, little kids. I mean, they don't know who Wreck-It Ralph's voiced by. They don't know who Sarah Silverman is. They don't know any of that stuff, and I don't think they care. They just want a good story. And voice actors are able to come in and help paint the picture and bring these drawings to life, or these graphics in the case of 3D CG stuff. And, you know, it's just the coolest job in the world.
I think it's hilarious that everyone was ready to be a part of this, but it seems like Nintendo was the one person that held out. It's like, no, you're not going to have Mario and Donkey Kong on screen. But Sonic was there. We had Hebert. We had Ryu. We had, I think, Ken as well. You had Zangief. You had zombies from what looks like Zombie Ate My Neighbors or something.
Yeah, I mean, and the movie did really well. So I'm sure that eventually you'll probably see a sequel down the line, and they can have some more cameos and continue the pattern.
And Nintendo can decide to hop on the train with everybody else and realize, wait a minute.
Well, I think it would make sense. We're at this turning point also with smartphones and tablets that, that market is kind of almost pilfering handheld consoles. Sure, the 3DS is doing great, and the Vita's just now starting to make its stride with PS4 and all that stuff. But, honestly, people in their smartphones, they want something simple, short attention span, an Angry Birds type thing. Not Flappy Bird, good God. But they want something short and simple. And yeah, Nintendo took their stance saying, no, we're not going to put Mario on smartphones and all that. But, I mean, they are going to be developing new projects. So at least they're acknowledging that the smartphone tablet gaming phenomenon is here to stay.
Yeah. Black Sentinel actually made a good point that we need better mice. Mine, unfortunately, had broken throughout the week. I'm waiting on a replacement, so there you go, Black Sentinel. We're participating with chat. Yay, chalk that one off. Don't need to answer any more questions. I'm just kidding.
Bored, so...
Yeah. Screwloose gets as much money as his wife lets him. Poor Screws. So Kyle, one of the animes you were in, actually a few of the animes you were in, but one that took off really quickly, I think, was Gurren Lagann. Kamina, just this, I'm going to say it, screw what Foundry, this badass character with a huge ego and is completely just, comparing the Japanese voice actor to English. Kamina is one of those characters that it doesn't matter what voice you hear it in, it's always the same. It's someone who just projects a very good ego, or like an aura of they've got a huge ego and they're very, very sure of themselves, very I guess you could say arrogant, but also very, I don't want to say wise, because Kamina was wise very, very few times. But strong-willed. There we go. Strong-willed. Did you have fun playing as Kamina at all? Or was it one of those things that is like, oh, God, another one of these?
No. If I didn't like my job, I wouldn't do it. I'd be looking for something else to do. But I mean, this is the great thing about voice acting. It doesn't matter whether it's a one-off character that dies in 2 lines, or if it's someone who comes back, or someone who dies after 8 episodes, or someone that just goes on and on for hundreds of episodes. Or in a game series or whatnot, or in a cartoon. It's a new challenge every time I step into the booth. And it's equally fun, no matter what it is, because you never know what it's going to be. If I'm doing lip sync, or if I'm just trying a new voice out, and they're always throwing these curveballs at you, and all these short little descriptions about okay, we're going to build this character, and he's like this, like this, like this. What would it sound like? Boom, and then you're off and running. I mean, I'm simplifying it. But
right.
It's kind of like, but in the Gurren Lagann's case, I already knew ahead of time that show had a huge fan buzz from the year previous it came out, and in fan sub, and it made a big impact, and then suddenly it landed on our laps, and I go into Bang Zoom Studios, where I've recorded a lot of stuff through the years, and they had me try out for Kamina and Viral, and most voice actors, we just are almost actors, period. You go in and you audition. Treat the audition as the job, because chances are you're not going to get cast, and I was hoping, yeah, sure, perfect world, I get cast for everything I read for. That's not realistic, though.
No. That's not realistic at all.
So, yeah, I get told, when I landed the character, that's like, congrats, you got a fan favorite character. Don't get too attached. Like, oh, man. Oh, bummer. Boo.
Fan favorite for the wrong reasons.
Well, he inspires, the other characters forward and everything. He serves a good purpose for the story, and I still get a lot of love from the fans for that role, and even though it was ironic because the otaku hated it, when it debuted on Sci-Fi Channel, they said, "Oh, the dub's pretty good, but Kamina is not manly enough." It's like, guys, he's 17. He's 17. How manly can a 17-year-old be? No offense to 17-year-olds out there.
Yeah, true.
But
I
gotta do as I'm undirected. I got Plex. You got representatives there in the studio going, we want you to not sound like the Japanese actor. We want this to, have him not shout everything, even though the animation looks very big. We want to have it to be intense but not shouty. That's what the director Tony Oliver will continue to joke about to this day. It's like intense but not shouty.
Yeah. I mean, in the Japanese version, he was very, very shouty. It was kind of weird because like everything was so exciting, he had to just shout everything. But the English version was pretty cool. One of the characters actually weirded me out more in English than in Japanese was Liron.
Steve Bloom. Oh
Steve
my God.
Bloom is an amazing voice actor as well, but that lisp he gave Liron was just, it sealed the deal. I was like, okay, English version now is being bought.
That's right. There we go.
Yeah, it's one of those things. But that was one of the reasons why I purchased the English version of Gurren Lagann. The second thing that sealed the deal for me was watching you guys do a live recording of bloopers. I can't remember what convention it was, but it was on YouTube. A live recording of bloopers at for Bang Zoom Entertainment somewhere. I can't remember where, but just weird outtakes that would never happen, would never appear in the show at all. Like Kami's running next to Yoko, he's just, "Hey babe, what you doing?"
Yeah, and the outtakes are definitely one of the most popular things out there. The fans love it, but we don't get to put them out on the official DVDs or anything because usually the Japanese think that we're just making fun of their shows, and we're not. We're really not. We're just having fun.
Yeah.
And it's human, you know. There's no rehearsals when you're doing anime or games. You don't get to study this stuff ahead of time. You show up and you're just a blank slate. It's like, tell me what this game's about, what this episode's, what's my character doing, and then you're off and running. You're doing it, in sequence and everything, and then, it's very kind of like a vacuum. We don't get to record as a cast. We only get to do that if it were a cartoon. But with Japanese pre-existing products, we're either matching lip sync with animation for anime dubs, or in video game translation, localization, we have to match the timing of the audio because that's how the graphics are being animated with. So,
yeah.
And we're just staring at an Excel spreadsheet, pretty much. And that's really all we have to go on. And, the director and maybe someone from the studios there going, trust us. We know what we're doing. Like, all right, you're paying for my time here. And I'll give you whatever you want, whatever you need.
Yeah, that's that's a common story I hear from most VAs is like, we get a paper and we get to see the lips flapping. That's about all we get. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. So nothing before? No. Voice direction? Sometimes.
Yeah, and you trust that the director like what they hear, and they're going to be able to put these jigsaw pieces together, and they'll like the puzzle. And if they don't, they'll call us back in to re-record for whatever reason, and then it goes out into the world a few months later, or in the case of some games, up to a year later.
Yeah. Some of these games take forever to come out.
They do, and we got to sit on those non-disclosure agreements until they come out. And boy, it's tough sometimes. I sat on being a Ryu for a good year, and it was like, man, I can't wait.
So
yeah, and especially getting to record on Wreck-It Ralph too. I thought, like, this is like the coolest thing ever for my career personally. I know Dragon Ball Z's, all these, and things through the years are bigger, and this is just a cameo. But for me personally, I felt like getting that little 10-second thing was just like, oh my God, this is amazing, and I can't talk about it. And then suddenly Disney puts out a press release saying, hey, we got these characters in there, and we got the original voice actors. Like, whoa, really? Okay, good. They didn't just, because honestly, the cameos were throwaways. You could have removed them from the film, and it wouldn't have made a difference because it had nothing to do with the story. And that was my fear. But they kept on calling us back in, and I kept re-recording the cameo. So, like, all right, I guess they're going to use it because they keep on rewriting it, and that works.
Well, it was those cameos that made that movie connect so well with us.
Yeah.
I
agree.
That just makes it that brought it to a different level.
Yeah, it was all those cameos, that background detail. Like I said, the Eris dies, all your bases belong to us. The blatant, I guess you could say, Space Marine insectoid Zerg combat of Hero's Duty.
Which I hope they actually make into a game.
Sugar Rush, everybody wanted a real game of for the longest time, like on DS or something. It was such a great movie that inspired a whole lot of people, and the fact that you had all stars singing, like was it AKH48 from Japan singing Sugar Rush, and Owl City singing When Can I See You Again. It was such a blockbuster movie that I think was an instant classic for a lot of gamers and just a lot of animation people in general, because it combined a lot of things that from their childhood, whether or not they played video games. They probably know who Sonic is, they probably know who Ryu is, and they probably know who Hebert is.
And luckily, the cameos weren't like the crux of it. It's like, we're only going to cater to, we're going to hook you with all these cameos, and it's just going to be a big nostalgia bomb. That it was just like the right amount of balance, because yes, it had a story to tell, but it helped hook you into that world by giving you some familiar faces here and there. It's like, all right, now that we've painted this world for you, now we're going to fully immerse you.
Nice. Now, you spoke of Gohan, and we introduced with Gohan earlier. That's Dragon Ball Z's been running a long time, with the reboot of Kai, kind of cutting down on the filler and whatnot, making it seem a little bit more fast paced. Did you enjoy being Gohan? I mean,
well, why wouldn't I? I mean, I was actually, it was my first big voice acting gig, period, and then I was already a fan of Dragon Ball Z to begin with for like good 5 years before I got hired to work on the show. So it's like fanboy dream come true, career goal achieved. And, I didn't have to voice match the character because up to that point, he'd only been a little kid. So I got to make Teen Gohan my own once he entered into high school age and everything. And, I mean, he's nerdy, and he's cool, and he's strong, and he's, dorky. It's just a little bit of everything. And a
superhero.
And a superhero, too.
Yeah.
A lot of people kind of take a dump on Great Saiyaman, but I had a blast.
Saiyaman is amazing, and everybody should cosplay him. That's what I think.
I totally cracked up when I saw like footage from the Thor 2, the Dark World outtakes. You can actually see Loki and Thor doing Great Saiyaman poses on the set.
Well, Chris Evans is a big nerd, so
yeah.
So I could totally see that, and that's hilarious. That is just awesome.
Well, I have a question. You have what games entice you? I mean, I know you voice in whatever you can get, but what games entice you?
I love first-person shooters. I love racers. I just had a blast with Titanfall beta, so I can't wait to get that. It's the reason I held out on getting an Xbox One. Is I'm not getting it until Titanfall, and then I had to get it a month early because the beta came early. So it's like, $500 now spent. And then I'm having buyer's remorse. I got Need for Speed Rivals, and I'm terrible at it. And I love racing games, but it's no Burnout. It's not a split second. I love those games that have destruction as part of the whole thing, and I'm just terrible at it. And it's like, well, digital download. I can't return it. I can't sell it. I can't do anything. I just blew $60, and people say, just practice more. You got to learn how to drift. And it's like, I don't know. These controls are wonky. I don't know. It's just I'm not loving up to it. But I'm not that good at Titanfall either. But boy, I love that. Just being able to be on foot. It's like Call of Duty, and then all of a sudden, hop in a mech. Oh yeah, go around.
Giant robots. What's
robots
this?
For the win.
Yeah.
But honestly, my favorite first-person shooter is actually Left 4 Dead, and I love Gears of War. And I love Halo too. But I mean, you play the online crowd, and they're usually pretty trolly, and that takes the fun out of it because they all just snipe you right away. And so stick to your friends list, guys. That's the rule of thumb.
Yeah.
How about your classics? Do you have a classic one?
Sure. Back in the day, man, I was even earlier than that because I'm in my mid 40s. So I grew up in the golden age, man. I had an Atari. I lose endless quarters on Pac-Man, Galaga, Donkey Kong.
What about Joust?
Even Joust, Defender.
Defender, God.
Centipede,
Galaxian, Phoenix, Tron.
Galaga.
My older brother had an Atari 5200, so I get to play all these arcade classics in their prime after they were taken out of the arcades in my small little town, because, let's face it, when I grew up it was in the 80s. In the mid-'80s, so like arcades weren't as popular. It was more like boom boxes and skateboards and Ghostbusters and that kind of stuff. Rollerblades.
Oh yeah, yeah. And here's the thing: I've been more of a casual gamer. I've never been particularly good at them, but I've just always loved that whole world. And of course, back then, voice acting wasn't a part of the deal. They just had the little 8-bit MIDI scores and the sound effects and all that, and that's all there was. Never in a million years did I think that one day I'm going to grow up and I'm going to not only voice in animation, I'm going to be in games. Like, what? It's just trippy. It's trippy. But yeah, I love my 3DS. I love my Vita. I love my 360, my PS3, my PS4, my Xbox One. I gotta have. I'm not into the Wii or the Wii. The Wii U? I skipped out on that one. Didn't really hook me. I think they're great at portable, I'm going to stick with that. I can't wait for Super Smash Brothers for the 3DS. It's like, man, long time coming.
Yeah, I mean, the 3DS is powerful enough to do the Super Smash Brothers now, so I mean, it's great to see them do that. I just recently bought the Legend of Zelda Limited Edition Wii U, and it's really hard for them to sell me on that Wii Pad because it's so bulky. But
you have to charge it.
And you have to charge it, but it's so different. But then again, we thought that about the GameCube controller. It was so different, but it turned out being one of the best controllers that they had. And I kind of want to see them come back with it. I mean, they got the Pro controller, which has a different configuration than the one they sell in most stores right now. You can buy it online. It's kind of like, I think it's called the Elite or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's got the right stick down where the Xbox controller's right stick is, and it actually does pretty well. It's just trying to find it. The issue with most of that is most of those games don't use that, and like I guess they want to try to make you use the Wii U pad. The only game that I found that does any good with that is the Wonderful 101, I think it is. Yeah, Wonderful 101, which actually does really well. It's just,
yeah,
I don't know. It's Nintendo's trying way too hard to do too much.
Oh, maybe. And meanwhile, Sony with PS4. I mean, I love being able to play a PS4 game on my Vita. And it's like, oh, my daughter wants to watch TV. Okay, I'll just continue my game of Resogun here on the Vita and just go chill in my room. I mean, I love being able to do that. Yeah,
I mean, it's great. The Wii U gamepad lets you do it on some titles, not all, which would have been a little bit more of a seller point there. Like, oh, I want to play this Mario game. Okay, you want the TV to the Wii U pad and go. That's great, but you can't do it with everything, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. So you've got a lot of consoles, so you're a massive gamer. I can see why League of Legends was a very good appeal to you. But you didn't get just one character, you got 3.
I got 3, and I played the game, I gave it a try, and boy, I was terrible at it. I could maybe get 1 kill each game. It's like, all right, maybe this isn't for me. But I mean, I see the appeal, absolutely. I tried Pokemon Y or Pokemon X, and it's like, all right, I see the appeal. It's a little repetitive, but okay, it works. I get it. I see it.
Yeah, I mean, it requires a lot of thought sometimes. If you play with random people, it requires a lot of patience.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of new monitors to replace the ones you just broke.
Maybe, and I'm a Mac guy, so I mean, I have a 27-inch monitor, but it took forever for League to even have a Mac version.
Feel your pain.
Yeah. Poor Screwless had to wait 6 months for DuckTales to come out on Mac.
Oh, endless ribbing on that one.
Oh, it was so great. It was so great. I was seeing screenshots. It was great. So, you've been in a ton of anime. You've been in a ton of games. And just complete giant list on your website. It's huge. You were in Fire Emblem, Persona 4, Devil May Cry 4, Soul Calibur 5, Dynasty Warriors 6 and 7, Tales of Symphonia, World of Warcraft, which that's a pretty big achievement.
Yeah, shocking. I was like a Blood Elf on one expansion. Then in Lich King, I was Algalon the Observer. And just getting to be even a small part of these big game titles is just like that feels good, man. It just really does. I get to go in. Doesn't matter what you look like. You go in and record. And then, it comes out into the ether, months after the fact, and it's pretty awesome.
Well, you were Algalon the Observer, which I think is a raid boss. I can't remember because I didn't really play Wrath of Lich King. I thought myself as a gamer and an old school WoW raider, I thought it was way too easy, so I quit. I quit then. But you were in Star Ocean and Resident Evil, Artanelico, Altair Totori. Altair has way too many names, like second names that I can't pronounce sometimes.
They do. They got some funky names.
But Wolfenstein, Wild Arms 5. Wild Arms is a favorite series of mine. Mad World, Armored Core. A lot of popular games, and a lot of them PlayStation titles for the most part.
And a lot of them not so popular, like Marvel Pinball. I can say I got to be Iron Man, but Iron Man on Marvel Pinball.
Well, you were in Red Alert 3, which is a favorite game of mine as well. Guilty Gear 2, Last Remnant. Ooh, I like that game. I actually did not see that on your list. Whoops. Okay, a lot of video games, a lot of animation. You were also in some semi-popular web series as webmaster in Tome.
Mm-hmm.
How did you and Chris meet?
We've been friends for years. I think we met at a convention or something, and he's been wanting to do two things. He wanted to be an animator, and he wanted to be a voice actor. So I met him when he was more focused on the voice acting side, and now he's doing content creation with Tome, and he's doing really, really well with that. I'm really, really happy for him. And he just basically approached me last year and said, "Hey, I got this idea for a role. If you want to go for it." It's like, "Oh, dude, it'd be my pleasure, absolutely." And I just don't have enough hours in the day to catch up and see. So I'll be honest, I have not seen Tome. I've only done my part, which I recorded from my house, and sent him the email files, and then boom, it's on there.
Well, it's a good web series. I personally like it. I watched it back when it was just TTA or TV Tome. I can't remember animation exactly what it stands for, but back on Newgrounds there was like 85 or 86 episodes, something like that. And then he quit for a long time, and then Tome came out. I was like, oh, I remember this, and I started watching it, and then I saw at the end of credits, your name, Kyle, and a few other names I know, like Kimlin, Kira Buckland, and oh god, Lil Karibos, I keep forgetting it. There's so many people like of internet fame or VA fame.
Yeah,
and there's even a few people which I can't really track down because I don't really know their real names. But it's a good web series for what it is, a one-man army basically doing all the production side just about.
Right.
Now, do you usually do fan projects like that, or do you shy away from them? Is it something that you would like to do more of, or is it just something that you do when you have time?
Well, I do this professionally, so I do this to make a living, pay my bills and all that stuff, and I know a lot of independent people don't really have a budget, so they can't afford it, so usually I kind of limit it to I'll be happy to do a cameo for it, if it's a line or two, then I'm happy to do that, because that doesn't really take a lot of time, and it doesn't take a lot of effort, and I don't get totally taken advantage of. It's like, well, you worked on my project for free, how about you? All that stuff.
Right.
So
right.
I don't want to go overboard, but I kind of like doing that, and it's kind of like sort of a paying it forward sort of thing for the next generation of animators and actors and creative talent out there, because I didn't have that growing up. We didn't have the internet. Back in my day,
telegraphs and things.
Back when I was a kid, I wanted to be on the radio and do cartoon voices. And when I grew up, I got a broadcast degree, and I was on the radio for many years on Radio Disney and broadcasting nationwide and doing character voices and stuff, having a grand old time. And then 2005, this whole podcasting thing kicks off, and like, oh man, that's cool. Anyone can have a talk show about any topic they want, and the world can hear it instantly.
In my pajamas.
On demand and all that cool stuff. So yeah, whether it's brony fandom or I like talking about potted plants or whatever, there's an audience for it, and it's great that you can reach them and not have to get a broadcasting license from the FCC or anything. It just goes out there, and I'm sure you guys have fans from all over the world, and that's got to feel good when you get like an email from the middle of deep Russia or something. It's like, I listen to your podcast. It is great. I cannot get enough brony,
Yeah, no, we've had a few fan mails and a few fan arts. It's actually pretty cool. And I actually met some local fans here in Houston, like, oh yeah, watch your show. I was like, oh really, dude? I'm going to keep doing it anyway, but that's amazing. People watch it. But it's one of those things where I just keep doing it because I like it, not necessarily because I want people to watch. But when it comes to like promoting people, promoting talent, promoting projects, it's a different thing. I definitely want people to watch that more so than us, and I just want to be that stepping stone for people to get that out there. Now, you mentioned bronies. You do know what bronies are. So, question for you then, I guess, is are we a weird thing to you, or do you kind of understand it?
No, I get it because I'm a geek too. I'm a sci-fi geek. I love Star Wars, old school Star Wars.
Yeah.
I love Firefly, Battlestar. No, I can't really get into tabletop gaming, but I'm not going to knock fandoms. I mean, every fandom has its bad element that the bad seeds, all the every single fandom, doesn't matter what, sports even, they've got creepy fans and maybe socially awkward, this, that, and the other. But overall, it's so awesome to see people that are passionate about whatever it is. I'm not into Doctor Who, but God knows there's a lot of Whovians out there, and go for it, celebrate your fandom. I mean, because I know what it's like to be passionate about things. I'm a movie fan in general, big film buff. I love technology. I love my iPhone. I love games. I love a little bit of everything. So I'm just kind of a general geek, but if you want to say and just to totally immerse yourself in one kind of fandom or a bunch of fandoms, I think it's fantastic. This is great.
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, if it would have been for Lauren Faust bringing in all the people that are on the show now or in the past, it wouldn't have been as good. It wouldn't have been as well liked. It would have been just like every other My Little Pony came out, terrible and swept under the rug. However, she brought out something not only just girls liked, but their parents and guys and just about everyone can relate to. It's kind of interesting to see that happen. Now, that kind of brings me to another question for you. You say you're an animation fan. Do you remember an animation called Pirates of Dark Water on Cartoon Network? Like around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon? No,
only by name. Never saw it.
Okay. I guess I'll try to relate it a different way. Is there a series or a game that wasn't really complete enough for you that you would like to see redone or gone back and revisited at all?
I want Animaniacs to come back. I love Animaniacs.
Actually, they brought Animaniacs not back per se, but they started rerunning it on the hub recently. I think we'd all like to see more of Rob and Jess Arnell.
Oh, totally. God, I wish Batman Beyond would come back.
Batman Beyond was pretty good. It took me a little bit to get into Batman Beyond because it's like, oh, this is a little emo for me, but it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yep. Yeah, and people ask me, what's your big goal? It's like, well, I would love to be in a Batman cartoon. I don't want to be Batman because, from a selfish standpoint, who doesn't want to be Batman? But I don't want to be compared as like, well, he's not as good as Kevin Conroy. It's like, you're right. I'm not as good as Kevin Conroy, so I will never be Batman. Well, but it's okay. It's okay.
I mean, like, you can do Batman in your own way, but there's no way you can be Conroy at all. But at the same time, they've had John DiMaggio play as the Joker before in Under the Red Hood.
And he's fantastic.
He did a damn good job as the Joker. And then they had, instead of Arlene Sorkin, they had Tara Strong play, Harley Quinn. Sorry. I had a brain slip there. Again, running on 2 weeks with 1 day off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, technician work is brain killing. But Arlene Sorkin didn't play some of the voices. I think after the first one. I think she stopped at the first one. I'm not too sure on that. I'd have to look it up. But Tara Strong took over, and it didn't sound exactly the same. It was close enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you could possibly get away with a Batman if it was a different Batman, maybe like like medieval Batman or something like that. But I don't know. Okay, so last question. You've already achieved so many lifetime goals, like being in Wreck-It Ralph, being in Street Fighter, being on Dragon Ball Z. What's your next one? Do you want to be in Final Fantasy? Do you want to be in the next Halo? What's your next goal?
Well, I've been in Final Fantasy 13, 14, and 15.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Good parts. But my goal, I have it visualized. I wrote it out on a chalkboard. I want to be on the next big cartoon series, whatever that is. I want to book it for, I want to work with Andrea Romano, who directed Batman and Animaniacs and Avatar and all that. It's like, I'm not picky. I just want to be on a big cartoon surrounded by all the talent that I love and look up to work with these people and to be on in contribute to this art form that I've been a lifelong fan of.
Right.
Because I'm passionate about the job. I'm passionate about the people I get to work with and meet, and of course I'm beyond ecstatic that I get to travel around the world because of what I do, getting con invites and get to hang out with fans and meet them face to face and hear these wonderful stories about everything from, hey, you made me laugh, you were entertaining, to something more deeply personal and intimate, like, you helped me deal with depression, or, I'm stationed in Afghanistan and I played your game, or I watched your show and it really helped me get through the tough nights and everything. It's like, man, you just don't think about that when you're in the booth, in the moment, acting, that it goes out there and it affects people in some sort of way.
It does. It really does. And there's a lot of those stories in the Brony fandom. Just a lot of personal stories. And it's like that with every fandom, really, to be honest with you. Like the people who got married at a Star Wars convention, or the people who were depressed and My Little Pony made them smile. And it's just like it's like that in every fandom, and it's great to hear that you've had some of those experiences as well.
Oh yeah, and I've never done a drug in my life, but I liken getting to work in this business and doing what I've always wanted to do as kind of like a drug addiction. I get the high of working, and then the high fades because, the job's over, my session's over, and then you're essentially fired. They don't need you anymore. Right. So you go and audition, and hopefully the next thing will come along, and then you get that high back and everything. So, I've gotten to do some cartoon work. I did Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and that was several years ago. And then it aired like a year ago. It took that long for it to a show on Disney XD, and then they scrapped that series. Now there's a new Avengers, which I'm not a part of, but I keep on hoping, man, I'll get that audition and I'll get to be a part of the Marvel Universe again, or maybe Disney will say, hey, come on in, try out for this. So, my agents read me for a lot of great projects and a lot of studios, and my contacts and casting directors. I can't thank them enough for just the opportunity to read for things. So living in Los Angeles has made that possible. I could not do that if I were still in Dallas, where I grew up. Funimation got my start and everything, but I really needed to come out here to the West Coast to take my dreams to the next level. Yeah,
and wow, Dallas, that's really close. I'm in Houston here. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I recently moved down here, so I'm really a Cornhusker, Indiana boy. So
nice.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to ask this in a weird way, but okay, Weird Al was a guest star on My Little Pony. He got to do his own thing. He got to be Weird Al, basically.
Yeah.
And he even wrote the ending theme. Is there a chance you would want to, if you were asked to be part of My Little Pony, to be
sure.
there with Tara Strong, John Delancey, Brian Drummond, all of them?
Absolutely. Oh, totally. I'd love a chance to work with any of those guys and gals. Absolutely. I totally look up to them, and to be a part of something that just resonates with a huge fandom like My Little Pony, of course. I'd be all over that. I haven't ever had the chance to even audition for the show, and I can't control, what I try out for. I can put a bug in the ear of my agent or something, but usually, I just wait, and my inbox just, gets, 2, 3, 4, 5 auditions a day. Sometimes they're big, high-profile projects. Some just newer, independent things that haven't really come out before. And I'll read for it all. We'll see what sticks.
All right. Anything you want to plug before we go?
Well, I'm on a couple of recurring shows. If you watch Toonami, Naruto Shippuden is still on. I voice Kiba and Inoichi, Ino's dad. Let's see. I'm on Tenkai Nights, which is on Cartoon Network on Saturday mornings. If you have any younger sibs who like Legos, that's kind of like a Lego-esque type thing with little chibi mechs. I voice the commander of the Korakai, Commander Beeg. And then on Digimon Fusion, which is on the CW on Saturday mornings, you can hear me as Ballistamon and Darulamon. And let's see, you can hear me in 4 episodes of Pokemon Origins as Professor Oak. He's a bit younger. Bravely Default as Ominous Crow, and various voices in Inazuma 11 on the 3DS eShop, and Earth Defense Force 2025. You can hear me all throughout the game shouting orders and this sort of thing for Xbox and PS3.
So if you want Kyle Hebert to shout orders at you, get Earth Defense Force.
That's right. Kill some giant bugs. It'll be great. EDF, EDF.
Well, Bravely Default, I've been recommending everywhere I go. If someone has 3DS and doesn't have it and loves RPGs, that's one of the first games I recommend. All right, Kyle. One last thing before we go. Do you mind plugging our podcast a little bit here, just by saying watch Bluescreen Bronies?
Watch Bluescreen Bronies? Bluescreen Bronies?
Yeah, like as a voice that you want to do. Kamina, Graves, Ezreal, Webmaster, whatever.
Okay.
Like Bluescreen Bronies, Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Everfree Network.
Oh, nice. Okay. Tune in Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern for Bluescreen Bronies on Everfree Network.
That's awesome. Dude, thanks, Kyle. You've been awesome, man. It's been wonderful having you on. And
Thank you.
I love talking with voice actors, especially ones that are big into gaming, because gaming doesn't need to die just yet.
No, it's here to stay, man. And, it makes me eternally young. I love my animation, I love my video games, and I love getting to voice for them.
All right, Kyle, again, thanks for coming in, and I hope you have a wonderful Sunday, and I hope it's busy for you this coming year, because it's been one of those where a lot of Japanese animes coming over, and a lot more video games are coming out that are high profile.
Oh, yeah.
Even some Equestria.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I make all my new project announcements on the Twitter feed at Kyle Hebert, and my last name is spelled Hebert. So just say Hebert.
Hebert.
All right. How about we give Kyle a little parting gift, and you give him some of your raw pulse and Skrillex?
I think I could do that.
Nicely done.
Yeah, we actually had Skrillex. We had him at you were either going to Dragon Con or we had you go to Dragon Con. I can't remember what, but he went to Dragon Con and he ran into Rob Paulson, and they had a Rob Paulson off. Oh,
that's excellent. Yeah, I'm going to be at Dragon Con this year. I went 2 years ago, and then I'm coming back this year. So if you guys are there.
Yeah,
I'll see you
excellent.
there.
Dragon Con, awesome. All right, Kyle, great Sunday, great interview. Thank you again. And this has been Bluescreen Bronies with a special episode, I guess you can call it, of us interviewing Kyle Hebert. Oh, I said it right. Hebert.
You did.
Yay! I get the gold star. Oh. All right,
You
guys.
tried.
Yeah, I did. All right, guys, have fun and be safe. And game on.